Hello fellow adventure seekers, this is our January 2021 RV Internet update video, and it seems it changes so much that probably should just do this regularly. So this is an update to the video we put out a few months ago, and we're going to try to do this every 3 to 6 months or as major changes happen to our RV Internet setup. So if you haven't seen our previous video, there's a link to it in the description below, and we'll try to put a link up here as well. Go watch that video, then come back and watch this video because this is just an update to that video. So the first big change from our previous video is our AT&T solution. I said in the previous video that we're using Gypsy Wireless, and while it's been working great, we haven't had any experience yet with their customer technical support, so we really couldn't grade how well that was. Well, about a week or so after posting that video, I unfortunately found out just how good, or not good, the customer / tech support for Gypsy Wireless was. One day my internet just stopped working. The SIM card would connect to the AT&T network. So I contacted support. There were no phone numbers, so I sent an email, opened a support ticket. And I got a fairly quick response, maybe a day, and the response was very long and very disjointed. It was hard to read and hard to understand. And so I thought they said that there was something wrong with my SIM card and maybe I needed a new SIM. Wasn't sure. So I replied and said, "Are you telling me I need a new SIM card? Or are you trying to tell me something else?" About a week later, they finally replied. Didn't answer the question, some more disjointed information, and that was it. So I replied again. Took about 4 or 5 days, got nothing again, and so I sent him another message and said, "What's going on? I haven't heard from you. I need internet for work. What's going on? What do I need to do?" In that time period, one thing that Gypsy Wireless did a great job of was billing me for the next month on time. They did that. I'd had their service for about a month and a half, if I remember correctly, before it died, and then I went over 2 weeks without service, and they billed me again. So no credit for the 2 weeks and counting that I didn't have service with them and that they were being unresponsive, and they billed me. So that prompted another email. "Why are you billing me when I don't even have service and you're not even responding?" And I waited a couple of days, didn't wait very long, and I asked again. And they finally said, "Yes, you need to get a new SIM card." At that point, I was already fed up. I said, forget it. I found another AT&T solution, and I'd already ordered it. And so I said, you know what? Just cancel my service because you guys are completely unresponsive, and I don't appreciate the way I've been treated. They just said, really fast. This is the only fast reply I got from them. "Okay, your service has been canceled." I moved on. And who I moved on to was Nomad Internet. In this video, like almost all our videos over the last few months, are being uploaded using Nomad Internet. And real quick, if you would like truly unlimited, uncapped, unmetered, unthrottled internet access, Nomad is the way to go. There's a link in the description below that'll get you $25 off your first month service just by clicking on that link. Right now, there's a big turmoil going on in all of the cellular internet resale companies, and that's what Nomad Internet is. That's what Gypsy Wireless is, OTR, FMCA, etc. They just resell T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, whoever. They just resell their services. That none of these companies have cell towers, infrastructure, computer servers, and all that good stuff. They just resell the service. So if you have a problem with your service, all these companies is a go-between between you and the actual service provider. And we'll just stick with AT&T since that's what we're talking about at the moment. So if you have a problem with your Nomad Internet, the folks at Nomad Internet will be your proxy and reach out to AT&T to help get that problem solved. And I have had a little bit of experience with Nomad's customer service and technical support, and I tell you, I have been more than happy with the, honestly, very fast reply. A lot of times, if you go on their website, especially during normal business hours or even late into the evenings, there's actually a live person you can talk to and or chat with, which is kind of surprising, honestly. So we made the switch to Nomad. Real simple, because the Cradlepoint router that we talked about in the last video, still using it. I just plug the SIM in. Works great. And it is truly unlimited, uncapped, unmetered, unthrottled. And I use all those words, and a lot of people may not understand what they mean, so let's take a quick moment to talk about what all those mean. You see unlimited internet everywhere, and everybody has a different idea what that means versus what it actually means. What unlimited internet means when you see it advertised is you can send and receive as much data as you want. What it doesn't mean is you can send as much data as you want at high speed. Now that is where people fall into the trap. When you see unlimited plans, or it'll say 20 gig unlimited plan, which is kind of another play on words. 20 gig unlimited plans means 20 gigs at high speed, whatever the high speed is, 4G, 5G, whatever. And then everything else is throttled down, or maybe throttled down, depending on the company and the contract. And usually when they throttle down, it means it's around 700K, which is a little more than half a megabyte. That is very, very, very painfully slow. You're not going to be able to do much with that except maybe send some emails with no attachments. And that's about it. Anything else is just going to be too slow to really do anything with. Almost every cellular daily contract out there is unlimited, but it's unlimited at low speeds. So the trick is, no matter what company you go with for your cellular internet plan, you need to understand, look at the fine print, ask questions, whatever. Is there a limit on high-speed data? Now with Nomad Internet, there isn't. We moved about 2.5 terabytes of data, and that's 2,500 gigabytes of data a couple of months ago. And no issues, no slowdowns, no throttling, nothing. It just worked great. Very surprised and very happy with that. We also had, in our last video, we were transitioning from Bix Wireless to Gypsy. The reason we left Bix was because Bix has a hard cap. Now once you hit 200 gig with Bix Wireless, they shut you down until the next billing cycle. That's not a slam on Bix. That's what they advertise. That's what they sell. So just keep that in mind. If you are looking for a lower cost solution and you're not concerned about having a lot of data movement, then Bix may be a good option for you. So we've replaced the Bix/Gypsy with Nomad for our AT&T solution. Now if you go with Nomad right now, they don't have any AT&T plans. A lot of these resellers don't have AT&T plans right now. They are struggling to get them. Just some stuff going on with AT&T, and I know that Nomad has a solution to that, and hopefully by next month they will be offering again AT&T plans. But right now all they are offering if you sign up with Nomad is T-Mobile based plans. Now if you sign up with them today and get a T-Mobile plan, then when AT&T is available, if you choose, you can always just get another SIM card from them and switch to an AT&T plan. And that's probably going to be the same with any of these resale companies. I think OTR's given up on AT&T, and they've tried to get AT&T and it didn't work for whatever reason, so they're sticking with T-Mobile right now. So it may be in the future T-Mobile may be the only game in town until Starlink, which is Elon Musk's funded satellite-based internet. It's still in beta, and when that becomes available, all bets are off, because that's going to be really high-speed data through satellites. That's going to be available anywhere you can see the sky, and I think they're saying that's going to be like $100 a month. So once that becomes publicly available, then all these other things we're talking about are just going to go out the window. On the Verizon side, we're still using Visible. Still very happy with them. And a quick note on why I have two. If you haven't been following us for a while, I always recommend, if you depend on internet for whatever reason, whether it be for work or you just want to have internet access, I highly recommend you have two different sources, because you never know what towers are going to be where in your travels. Well, other change we've made is we've kind of stopped using our ingenious Wi-Fi extender. It's still installed. We still have it on the coach, but we don't connect to campground Wi-Fi anymore. We haven't used it in like 5 months or so, especially since we got a WeBoost. And there's a link in the description below to our WeBoost install video. We installed the WeBoost Drive X RV without drilling any holes in the roof. And I chose the Drive X RV because it has an omnidirectional antenna. That means you don't have to get out and point the antenna at the cell tower. Now that doesn't work as great as a directional antenna, but if you're wanting to use it driving down the road, which we do, then the omnidirectional antenna is the best way to go. And plus, with my mobility issues, having to try to deploy a antenna every time we stop and get it pointing in the right direction is a little cumbersome. So we chose the omnidirectional WeBoost Drive X RV, and we've been very happy with it. It actually has increased our signal strength, and in some cases it's actually increased our upload and download speeds. It's pretty much guaranteed to increase your signal strength so you can use it for phone calls, and depending on things like tower saturation, usage and that kind of stuff, it may increase your upload and download speeds. So we're very happy with the WeBoost. That was an investment we should have made a long time ago, to be honest with you. So in addition to the WeBoost, the other change we've made is with our internal network. So while the Cradlepoint router does have an internal Wi-Fi router, it's only on the 2.4 gigahertz band, and where it was sitting in the front side of the coach really didn't have good signal strength in the back end of the coach. So I had a TP-Link C9 Archer router, just a regular router to use it in your home, that I had in our home that I brought with us. So I hooked the TP-Link router up to the Cradlepoint router with an Ethernet cable to provide an internal network. Now the TP-Link router has both 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz on Wi-Fi networks. So the 5 gigahertz range is a lot less crowded, has a lot more range, so it easily reaches out. Plus the TP-Link router has better antennas for Wi-Fi networks. So both networks, the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz, have a lot better range, so that picks up everything in the coach and around the outside of the coach as we need it. So that was kind of a zero cost item, so to speak, even though it was an addition to what we had. And the last thing that's been changed was we are no longer using our travel router. The TP-Link AC750 has been retired, so to speak, or at least put in the waiting room. We've connected the visible phone directly to the Cradlepoint router, and the nice thing about that is that provides the ability for the Cradlepoint router to switch to whatever network is best, or whichever network is working automatically. I don't have to do anything, and that's another cost justification to that Cradlepoint router, because it's not a cheap item, but it is a great investment. It can hold 2 SIM cards and have pretty much unlimited Wi-Fi connections for internet access, and that's how we use it with the visible phone, because you can't put the visible SIM in the Cradlepoint router, it just won't work. So I have to connect it wirelessly to the visible phone, and you can do that if you happen to be in a place that has great campground Wi-Fi. You can add that to the Cradlepoint router as well, and you can, and like I said, almost unlimited number of different internet sources you can have via Wi-Fi connection. And then the router itself will do the magic behind the scenes to figure out which path is the right way to go. Or if you choose to, you can actually kind of combine the paths and send data through all the paths at once. Now again, there's a lot of videos out there on the Cradlepoint router and how to install it and configure it. So we're not going to touch on that today. Maybe the subject of a future video will be showing you how I have the Cradlepoint router configured. Now, for those of you who are just looking for a cheap and quick and easy internet solution for your RV, still my #1 recommendation after over a year is the visible phone in combination with the TP-Link AC750 travel router. I have a link to that travel router in the description below. You can click on that and buy it from Amazon. And that's the simplest solution. You can get the phone service from Visible for as low as $25 a month. The travel router is about 40 bucks. And you're done. Again, the link to that video is in the description below, where we go into detail about how to connect and configure the travel router to the phone and to your devices. So my question to you, fellow venture seekers, what are you using for your RV internet solution? Especially if you're a full-timer, I'd love to hear what you're using for your internet solution and how much it costs. So here's our cost breakdown right now. We are paying $129 a month for Nomad Internet. Unfortunately, that's going to go up to $149 next month. It's still the cheapest AT&T based solution that I can find that's truly unlimited, uncapped, unthrottled, and all those other buzzwords. We are paying $25 a month for our Visible phone. Quick note about Visible too, because I keep getting these comments a lot. People talking about how it says on the Visible website that it's limited to 5 megabits download speed. Now, when I signed up a year ago, over a year ago, that was the case, and they had just removed that limit, and there was official publications with that limit in it, and so I bought it, and I have not experienced that limit at all. Currently, we're getting about 12 megabytes down and about 6 megabytes up. So I'm not experiencing that at all. I haven't experienced that at all. However, people keep telling me it's still all over their website, and that's been that way for over a year. So if you have recently gotten Visible and you are experiencing that limit, please let me know in the comments below, because I think it's just a matter of they've either not updated their website or I'm grandfathered in. And I'm not sure which it is, because I haven't had anybody tell me that they've experienced that limit. I've just heard people tell me they see it on the website. Now, one thing Visible has come out with too is they are expanding out to 5G, and if you have a 5G capable phone on the Visible network, which is Verizon, then you'll be able to do 5G speeds, and they're not going to raise the cost. As with any cellular-based internet service, you are going to be subject to possible limitations due to your proximity to a tower and how busy that tower is. So you have to understand the limitations of the technology that we're dealing with here. And cellular data needs a good signal relatively close to the tower, and that tower needs to not be oversaturated. And what I mean by saturation is heavily used. There's going to be times when everything I just mentioned works flawless, works great. You're going to be downloading stuff at 40, 50 megabytes per second. And there's going to be times when you're sitting in the same exact spot that it's not going to work at all. And that's just because of the demand on the tower. Keep those things in mind whenever you're doing any shopping for a cellular-based internet solution. And if you do have one and you run into issues, just keep all those things in mind as well. So as you can see, I'm wearing this. It's a Friday. I'm wearing a Red Friday shirt. Big thing we do with this channel is, as a veteran myself, we do what we can to support veterans, and we ask our fellow adventure seekers to help us when they can. And there's a lot of ways you can help us help veterans in need. The first thing you can do is just like this video. All the money we make from YouTube will go directly to a local veterans charities. So the ways we make money off of YouTube is through ad revenue. Let that ad play all the way through. Down below here is a button called applause. Hit that applause button and you can donate any amount of money you choose. If you're watching one of our live streams, which we encourage you to watch our live streams as well and come be part of that community, you can leave a super chat. All the money we make through ad revenue, super chats, and the applause feature, 100% of that goes to a local veterans charity. A couple of other ways you can help as well is you can either become a member of our YouTube channel by clicking on the join button below, or you can join our Patreon page, and there's a link to that in the description below as well. And depending on what level you join on either one of those or both of those platforms, a percentage goes to a local veterans charity. Now, why are we picking local veterans charities? Well, because those are the ones who normally have the most impact in the community and are also at the same time the ones struggling with funding. So we want to help those who are actually making a difference in the veterans community. So we've partnered with a few other YouTube channels to make a real and meaningful impact on the lives of veterans through these different local veterans charities. And these are charities all over the country where they're selected on their mission, their ability to impact the community, and also their record of using the funds properly. So we look for charities that have very low overhead costs as well. So we want to thank you guys for being a part of our community, being a fellow adventure seeker, and remember to make every day an epic adventure.